Okay, guys, welcome back to another video. And today we're going to go through. It's going to be a bit of a different video, but it's real key stuff. So we're going to talk about how to cruise through uni. So some people go to university, and because of the nature of their course, they're doing something that requires a lot of their effort. So let's talk. We're talking about if you want to be a doctor, mechanic, architects. A lot of these uni degrees require an enormous amount of effort um, to achieve them, and people are really passionate about what they're doing. There might be people who are really passionate about their subjects, and they want to go into academia, and they just live and breathe their subjects. So they want to spend a lot of time doing it. But there's also quite a large category of people who sort of fall into the middle where they are at uni, but they're kind of just at it because society's told them to do it, basically. Um, and if you're in the last category, I think this is going to be a good video to show you how to basically play university on easy mode, um, so that you don't completely fuck up your degree, but you can still do other things in the space of time that are productive. I'm going to move your life forward. So I'm going to start with. Okay, so this is a picture of the main square in Pristina in Kosovo. Now, when I took this picture, I was in my last year of university, and in 2 weeks' time, in fact, less, a week's time, I would be sitting my Christmas exams, so like the January exams. So these were quite important exams, and I but I'd booked to go to Kosovo. I just really wanted to. I knew I had these exams coming up, but I knew I wasn't going to get time um, before the end of university to visit this country. And a bit of a crazy decision, but I decided to go. Um, and I just took my revision with me. Got up at 6 every morning, had 3 black coffees, and would just sit for a few hours doing work until about 11 o'clock. And I'll spend the day traveling, recording videos, um, and seeing this cool part of the world, right? And I went back to university I managed to fly back to the UK, and 2 days later, I sat my first exam, and I did all right. I got a low 2-1. Um, However, I would have done better, and it would have taken me less time if I had employed the methods that um, that I am going to show you in this video. If I done this, like if I knew what I knew now and I went to Kosovo, I'd have done miles better, and it would have taken me half the stress, and I would have still been able to explore this cool part of the world that I wanted to. So I use this as an example just to sort of show you like what's possible to do while you're at university, because you know if you can like balance university, if you can get reasonably good marks, um, and do that in a way that's efficient, then you're looking at a very bright 3 years of your life where you can have lots of great experiences on top of studying a degree. So it doesn't have to be traveling necessarily. I mean, this is a bit of an extreme example, but you could, let's say you want to start a business. Let's say you want to start a YouTube channel. You want to make music. You want to get a job and earn some money, save up some money to do something in the future. Or you just want to party. You just want to party as much as possible. It doesn't really matter. Um, if you have a good framework to learn stuff, to learn university, to do university as efficiently as you possibly can, then any of this other stuff I just mentioned, you can have as well. So, so yeah, here we go. Took all my shit with me to Kosovo. Woke up at 6 every morning. Did okay at my exams. One of them I got a low 2-1, still a 2-1. And the other exams I did like high 2-1s. And one of the online exams I got I think I got a low first or a very high 2-1. Because I employed these kind of methods. Um, so yeah, I hope this gives you some idea of what's possible if you put your mind to it. So I'll just go over a few disclaimers. So, as I said before, some people, this isn't going to be a good video. So look at these criteria and just see if it's the kind of thing that you see. Oh yeah, that's me. So number one, you're not really interested in going to uni in itself. So what I mean by that is like you kind of just signed up to uni because you thought like everyone kind of does it. Oh, what am I good at? Oh, I don't know, business studies. Like, okay, fine. But you're not like in love with the uni lifestyle, because a lot of that will be sacrificed, which we'll go into later. So you only need 2-1 now. With this method, I think if you really embrace it, if you really embrace the lessons I've taught you, you can absolutely get a first doing this. The reason I put a 2-1 is because I think it takes a certain individual to really get a first doing this method. And I want to focus it more on how much time it frees up. So for most people, a 2-1 is like it's fine. It's all they really need from university, just to show they haven't completely funked it, right? So if that's you, then this is probably going to be a good one. You're doing a BA, so if you don't know, I'm sure you do, but a BA is Bachelor's of Arts. So, like I said, there are some courses where it's like much harder to sort of cruise through uni, as I put it. I think medicine is a good candidate for this, partly because a lot of seminars are obligatory and you can't really get out of them. I dare say it's possible. I'd be interested to see someone make a video about it. My housemate does maths, and he's kind of doing a similar thing to me in terms of university. So I think it is possible. But I think the ideal degree and the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be your language courses, your like English, history, politics, that kind of thing, essay writing and languages. Um, yeah. So partly because it's what I know, but partly because to be brutally honest, like these courses are a bit easier, and so you can kind of really use these techniques to the maximum effect in terms of as it pertains to freeing up your spare time. Okay, so we'll go through some sacrifices. So everything in life has a sacrifice, and while with this, the thing we're going to talk about, you're going to free up a lot of time to do whatever you want while you're at university. There will be some sacrifices. So, number one, you can forget about the aesthetic uni experience. Um, if you really want to go hard on this, you're not going to get a lot of sort of going to your seminars and then going for a coffee with your course mates afterwards and debating about like the stuff you heard in the seminar. Yeah, you're not going to get terribly close with your course mates because you're not really going to meet them very much because you're not really going to go to many of your lectures. You're not going to build a rapport with your lecturers. So at the moment I'm trying to get some of my lectures on on my podcast to talk about the stuff they study because it's kind of relevant to this YouTube channel. And it's extremely difficult for me because I haven't been a very good student all the time. Like I've turned out to good amounts of my seminars, but a lot of them I've missed, and it's rather rather embarrassing to be like, "Oh, hello, don't you remember me? I came to one of your seminars last year. Do you want to come on a podcast?" Um, so you lose out on that as well. And the other thing is, I think you won't enjoy a subject as much because the kind of strategies we're going to be using, they're not really very fun. You're not going to learn the subjects in a very fun way, where you're naturally going to explore the sort of the creative flow of study. It's going to be very bread and butter sort of, um, what do I need to learn? Here's the quickest way to learn it. Bosh. Okay, done. Let's go. Work on a business, where it is. Um, it's quite ruthless. It's quite ruthless. So if you see some of those things and you think, oh, I don't really want to lose that, I still want to have an aesthetic uni experience. I still want to get on with my course mates. I still want to have a rapport with my lecturers. Keep on watching this video because you don't have to go all the way with this method. You don't have to marry it. You can just take the stuff that I present in this video and maybe implement just 50% of it. But even 50%, you're still going to free up a lot of time. So, but if you really want to just maximize, just do as little uni as possible and still get a good grade, then this stuff, I would say, this is what you sacrifice. So it depends how much of this you're willing to sacrifice. I haven't sacrificed all this, by the way. Like I haven't. This is. I'm not going to pretend to be a perfect example of this. Like I've dipped in and out of doing it. Somewhat by accident. So so yeah, like I'm not saying I've necessarily done this all as well. Anyway, okay, so just to give you an idea, like this kind of thing, chatting about um your course, it was terrible quality picture, but sitting around in the campus. Obviously, we're still going to be going to the library, and we're still going to be living on campus most likely. But I don't know. It's going to be if that's what you're really about with uni, then you can't really do this sort of thing. Um, yeah, and just to be clear, guys, like I'm not mocking this at all. I think you know, in a way, it's like this the kind of reason why you should be going to uni is this kind of stuff. And I think it's a really beautiful part of life if you can make the most of like this sort of world of university. Um, so like don't feel like I shouldn't want this kind of stuff. Like this is really great, and I think if you have this kind of desire to chat to your course mates, have a good rapport with your tutors, build up a good relationship with them. That's what uni is all about, really. University kind of side of it. So like I don't knock it at all. Okay, but if you do want to sort of sell yourself to the devil, as it were, you want to just get the work done as uni as quick as possible, and secure a good 2-1, and then free up all your time. Then keep on listening. So, excuse me, we're divided this up into two sections, of which there are some subsections. So the first is language modules. So this is courses like French, Spanish. You guys know what a language is. Just a precursor. Some of this is not going to be relevant to modern foreign languages. My sort of expertise comes from ancient languages. That's what I studied at university. So there'll be different techniques. Like I'd love to see someone do a video about like a better way to do modern languages. I'm just teaching what I know, what I've learned from ancient languages, but I think a lot of it will still be applicable to this. Um, so yeah, I don't like how they haven't got the UK here. Um, anyway, patriot in me. Okay, first things first, I think, is my experience. You don't really learn very much about, like, you don't really get to a good level of speaking the language at university. They don't really teach language in the best way. Um, and I think basically there's much better ways to learn the language you're studying. So for me, it was Latin and ancient Greek. And I basically didn't go to language seminars for the large part. Or if I did, it was because I just felt I should show my face. Um, what I did instead was I embarked on a journey of self-study, self-teaching, which was much more effective. So um, I got in a habit of reading Latin every day, and I went from kind of um, just mass consumption because I'd seen a lot of videos about how to learn languages before, and so I just mass consumption, just read every day, and this did wonders to my ability to learn Latin. So, I mean, if you're a Latin student, which I'm sure probably not very many people are, but like stuff like this, kind of Familia Romana, just read a lot of shit like that, and you'll pick up a lot of um, a lot of Latin from it, far more than you will kind of plodding through a translation or plodding through grammar, as it is done in Latin lectures. So this is what I mean, guys. You won't go to your seminar to learn language. You'll just employ other methods to learn them, which are more effective. Um, so yeah, there we go. Focus on consumer content using understand every day. Again, I'm not really sure how applicable this is to modern languages. I don't know how effective modern languages are, how well they're taught at university. Um, but certainly for me, I found it very effective just to take language learning into my own hands. And I put here, don't be afraid to outsource your resources. So, italki, Link, stuff like that. Um, I think they're much better resources for learning the actual language. And when it comes to the exam, you'll be ahead of everyone else because you'll have maximized your ability to learn the language. Okay, now in in my um, in my course, a large part of the language exams was memorizing the set texts. So be given a passage from a book in ancient Greek or Latin, and you'd memorize the translation basically. And when I was in Kosovo, right, I was learning it in a very efficient way. So here's how not to do it. What I was doing was I was um, copying out the text in on a sheet of paper, and then I was getting it in black ink, and I was getting a separate color pen, and then I was writing the English translation of each word above in red ink. This is a really fun way to learn, and I really enjoyed learning the text in that way, and it did have some effect, but it wasn't very fast by any means, and I put that to why I did so badly, or why I did worse in the exam than I think I would have. So the actual strategy I would employ is, in fact, I'm just going to take this out of. Okay, I'll show you guys. Um, this is what I would do. So let's say we're learning Herodotus histories. Oh, yeah, I'm still there. Okay. Um, okay, so let's say I have to memorize. Um, let's have to memorize this bit of Herodotus for my exam. Um, basically put yourself in exam conditions as quickly as possible. So, um, I've never read this text before. This is how I'll do it. So I'll just say apathnate, apatheke. Okay, click that. Okay, lay upon. Let's write down lay upon. Lay upon. Okay, de. Epigon. Okay, I already know that word. Fleeing. Ten nuson. What's nuson? The disease. Disease. Delteros, hutos, tis, oikies, tautes. Okay, this. Okay, Delteros, second. Hutos, this. Okay, what does oikies mean? Building. Building. Okay, and it's in the genitive case, so of this building. Um, um, okay, so that's just an idea. I'm just writing out each word in a very sort of methodical way. And I'll do that for the entire paragraph, right? And then I would go on to the English translation, and I would compare my full translation to the English translation here. Um, and then I would go over it several times, and that's the most effective way to learn it. Um, okay, so that's how you memorize. That's how you memorize um, set texts in language modules. I'm sure it's different for modern foreign languages again, but yeah. Okay, so grammar. Studying grammar is a bit of a snake's pit. It's easy to get lost down there. So and not actually revising stuff that's very useful. So if you want to learn more about this, I would advise you check out Steve Kaufman's videos about about grammar and stuff, like how to learn grammar effectively. I'll link his videos in the description. But basically, starting out, you don't want to put masses of your time into learning verbs and nouns because it's too low return on investment. You want to take about 5 to 10% of your time like studying that kind of stuff. But otherwise, you want to be doing like reading in the language, you know, stuff we talked about here, you know, this kind of stuff, and you know, whether you're learning the language itself or memorizing set text. That's what the bulk of your time should go into, because you will pick up grammar points naturally. You'll begin to recognize verb forms, and you'll be able to guess at verb forms quite accurately if you don't understand them. Without kind of knowing, you'll be like, oh yeah, I just know that's the aorist passive. How do I know that? I don't really. I've just because you just seen it so many times in its natural environment. So this kind of stuff, like, just don't waste too much time on it. You need to do it a little bit, but again, about 50 to 10%. By the way, I realised um, like you guys probably didn't really understand what I was reading in that example of ancient Greek, unless you can read the Greek alphabet. But yeah, sorry about that. But I hope I think the point I made was clear enough. Okay, so that's languages, and now we're going to move on to literature and history modules. So maybe your course just does history modules, maybe just does literature. We're just going to cover both of them together because they're very similar in terms of methods. So, what's the aim with a history module, first of all? So, for the language module, it's a bit different because it depends whether you're being tested on like the actual language itself, or you're memorizing set texts, or you're memorizing grammar. Like um, it's a bit more sort of difficult what you're studying exactly. With literature and history, it's very simple. You're just learning. Um, you're learning the stuff, the content, to produce a good essay, right? So everything we do here is geared towards just producing a good essay. So with literature modules, don't chase too many rabbits. So like with with university professors, like they'll want to give you as wide a breadth as they possibly can, and so they'll chase you down rabbit holes that's like good if you want to understand the general sort of context of the book itself and have a rich understanding about the novel. But if you just want to bash out a 2-1 essay as quickly as possible, you really don't need to know it. So you've got to be very selfish about your time when it comes to literature modules. All you really need to know is the text itself. So one of my tutors, just going back to this point, one of my tutors this year had a whole lecture about we were studying the Iliad and the Argonautica, which are like obviously Iliad's like an epic poem, but both epic poems, right? And our lecturer had a whole lecture about the epic cycle, which is a collection of more or less lost epics that were written around the same time, like kind of the same time as the Iliad. Um, Fascinating lecture. Did I need to know about it to write a good essay? No, I absolutely didn't. Um, so don't be. This is why I say like don't go to the lectures really. Um, all you really need to know is the text itself, which you can just study in your own time, right? So read and reread multiple times, which I know is long if like people aren't like good at reading yet. It's an incredibly difficult skill to master. Um, Use Audible. Like I know it costs like I don't know how much it costs. How much does Audible cost? Let's have a look. Audible subscription. We go above and beyond for you guys. Um, let's see. Atomic Habits. Uh, okay, £8 a month. So um, you're paying a bit of money, but like I was saying about the italki, like the stuff in this section, like it's just see it as outsourcing. You'll save yourself so much time if you can consume the book as quickly as possible. So let's say you just listen to it once on Audible. You reread it through a couple of times. You're going to be at a massive advantage when it comes to your coursework and your exams. And I wouldn't waste time on academic papers because that is the icing on the cake. That's the 5 to 10% that's going to set you apart from the rest. And I'll show you. You do need them to write a good essay, but I'll show you when you chuck it in. Okay, so that's that. And history modules, same principles. You just want to consume as much knowledge of your given subject area as possible. So let's say you're studying, I don't know, Soviet Union from the 1917 to 1964. Um, you just want to read as much content on that time period as possible. And I said here, read up the ladder. So this is really important. This is what's going to save you a lot of time. So I had a history module this year of where I was learning about Cicero, who's this guy here, um, like ancient Roman politics, right? And I started reading this book called let me show you Rawson Cicero. This book, Cicero Portrait, right? This is a real old school textbook written about 50 years ago now. Real classic of its time. And then there was another one, Stockton. This one as well, like real sort of old school book about Cicero. Um, I felt very clever reading it, but the truth is, my brain wasn't really primed to taking up all that knowledge. And at the end, what I realised is I just needed to read an easier version of the text of the events. And there's a brilliant book by someone called Catherine Tempest, which I think is a fantastic name, by the way. called just Cicero. I can't remember what it's called. Try and find it again. Tempest Cicero. Catherine Tempest Cicero. Yeah, Persuasion and Politics and Persuasion in Ancient Rome. And it was just a much simpler account of the history period we were studying. And I think I could have just started with Tempest, then moved on to Rawson and Stockton, which are slightly more advanced reads. Okay, so that's how you get your content down, right? Number three, this is writing essays. So we've done how to get the content down as quickly as possible. Now we're going to talk about how to like churn out a good essay as quickly as possible. So you want to get the word count down as early on as you can, really, no matter how bad what you write is. Like if you can write the whole word count, but it's a fail if you submit it, then write the word count because you can always edit. The editing is not the difficult bit. The difficult bit is hitting the word count as soon as possible. So basically, what I say is, don't worry too much about how much you get a question. You think, what the fuck am I meant to write about that? If you can write, even just 100 words right off the bat, do that. Even if it's just an introduction, but really try and write as much as you can. And you'll be surprised once you get started. It's not going to be good. It's going to be awful what you write. But just get as much of it down. And if you've been to school in the UK, you've probably seen this and almost had a heart attack. So this is like point, evidence, explain. If you do this strategy of just getting down all your thoughts about the question, even if you know fuck all about the subjects, well, you're going to be getting a lot of points and a little bit of explain down. You're not going to have much evidence. That doesn't matter because the evidence is really easy. So to give you an example, let's say I've got a question about Cicero. Explain. I'm just making this up at the top of my head. Explain how Cicero influenced Roman politics in the late Republic. I'll get that question and I'll be like, 1,000 words. Okay, I'll be like, what the fuck am I meant to write about that? Okay, and you're just sort of. I mean, it's a similar technique to the other thing, and I'll just sort of. Okay, Cicero was a very influential politician in Rome during in the late Republic. You just write something and just try and go on. You don't need to know any information to write. Cicero was a very influential politician in the late Republic. But you still need to get that kind of thing down. So that's kind of your point and explain thing. Just get all that down as quickly as possible. And then once you've hit as near to the word count as you can, then go and do your evidence with your primary sources and academic journals. If it's literature, obviously it's going to be mainly just bits from the poem. But this is where you add in academic journals. So once you're pretty, to be honest, I wouldn't really. The thing with academic journals is you don't actually need an awful lot. You don't need to really understand very much about them. To be honest, I think you can get away with just quoting one quote from the first page of an academic journal. Do that 6 times in an essay, and no one's going to notice really. So you just need to kind of say, "Oh, and Jones says this," at some point. You don't need to have a really full understanding of the full academic journal. So yeah, that's how I go about writing essays. There are there's content I've got elsewhere on my. I'll link the video in the description. Elsewhere on my channel about how to do this in a bit more detail. But this is just a rough outline of how to do it. So I hope it's helpful, guys. And if you get these sort of things down, you'll really free up so much time at university. And all that time where you're sort of pissing about, not being productive, you're doing stuff like this. You know, you're booking off a trip somewhere and just you know doing an hour here or there, being really productive because that's all you need to do. And the thing is, like university at the moment, kind of coming out of COVID, you can sort of do it quite remotely on your own. You know, it's quite easy to do that. So yeah, um, it's definitely worth like going over this and trying to really really make your study as efficient as possible because like the amount of wasted study time that happens at university is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Um, and then you have time to do other things. You know, you have time to start a business or just go out with friends on a Friday night because all your work's done. You're not stressing. But then like you'll actually still be going out until 4 a.m. But then you've actually it's like not a big deal because you've actually done your work in an effective way. So I hope this makes sense. I realise it's a lot to cover. So if you guys have any questions, um, just give a comment on the video. I'll respond to any comments about if there's anything I've made unclear because I know there's a lot to get through. I mean, I could do several videos about this to be honest. So just treat this as like a rough outline, and yeah, good luck, guys. Whether you're at university already or wherever it is, I hope this is useful. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.